Welcome to the Rise of the Trades podcast, the show dedicated to helping you to build, grow, and scale your trades or construction business. All rise for your host, Craig Wilkinson.
Welcome to this week's coaching episode of the Rise of the Trades podcast, where we help trades and construction business owners to skyrocket leads, explode net profits without having to graft 60 hours a week and becoming that busy fool. In this episode, I'm going to be teaching you the 3 brutal stages of business growth that every tradesman and woman must learn if they're serious about achieving time and financial freedom in the business and the life. But before we go there, I'd just like to ask you a quick favour. And that is, could I please ask you to hit the follow or the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to my podcast on right now, because the more people that we can get to follow or subscribe to the episodes, the more the algorithm is going to push these episodes out to more business owners that need our help and support. Now, let's transition over to this week's coaching episode. I want to start this episode off by asking you something that I'm really curious to find out what the answer is from yourself, and that is this. Why is it that some tradesmen are absolutely grafting the backsides off? They're working 10, 12, sometimes 14 hours a day. They're still worrying about money. They're stressed. They feel stuck. And then you've got other people that are in the same industry, even the same trade, with the same tools, with the same opportunities, but they've built a business that gives them time and financial freedom. Now listen, this is not luck. They've just not got that lucky break. That's not that they're smarter than you or they're cleverer than you. It's because they understand something that most tradesmen and women do not understand. And that is, there are 3 critical stages of business growth. And if you don't understand what these 3 critical stages are, you will end up either staying stuck in survival mode and just surviving hand to mouth, week to week or month to month. Or you'll become what I call that ultimate classic busy fool. Or you'll end up burning out trying to achieve time and financial freedom, which is no good for you and it's no good for your family. But if you do understand them, and more importantly, you know how to move through them properly at the quickest, easiest, risk-free way of getting through them, then that's when everything changes. And I'm 100% qualified to walk you through these 3 stages. Why? Because it's in my DNA. Because I've gone through all of these 3 stages myself over 32 years of being in business. And let me tell you now, if someone were to have shared with me 32 years ago what I'm about to share with you, I would have achieved time and financial freedom decades before I actually achieved it. You see, back in 1994, when I first set up my joinery and building company and I went self-employed, I didn't have what you've now got at your disposal. You've got podcasts like this, you've got free courses, you've got YouTube, you've got other coaches and mentors giving away free knowledge, you've got Facebook groups to get free knowledge from on how to stop you from making all the classic mistakes that I've made in my past. And even in today's day and age, I still see so many tradesmen and women making them same classic mistakes. And it pains me. And I think, why? Why are you putting yourself in this position where you're making these mistakes that I made 32 years ago, that 32 years before me somebody else made, in this modern digital age where you've got all this knowledge at your fingertips? Why are you still making these mistakes? And having coached over 30,000 tradesmen and women since 2012, I know what the answer to this is. And it's very, very simple. you will end up falling into one of these 3 stages that I'm going to be sharing with you throughout this episode. But my goal on this episode is I don't want you falling into stage number 1. You've got to avoid stage 2 at all costs, because if you get stuck in stage 2, then my goodness, it's going to be difficult for you to get out of stage 2. No, what I want you working towards is stage number 3. And if we can shift our mindsets and condition ourselves to think, do you know what? Actually, what is shared in this episode, I get, and I need to avoid stage 1 and 2 and just head straight to stage 3. That's where we need to be. And on top of all that, this is episode 108. So prior to this, we've got 107 free coaching, marketing, business, mindset podcast episodes that will help you avoid stage 1 and 2 and just take you to stage number 3. And this is what I'm saying. In today's day and age, you've got all this accessible, but for some of you, you're choosing not to use it. And therefore, you're going to end up getting stuck in stage 1 or 2, and then you're going to be stuck on an hamster wheel, and that's it. You're going to be grafting your nuts off for years, if not decades, like I was, making all these classic mistakes, when in actual fact, all you needed to have stopped and done is change your approach, change your direction of how you're running your business, and knowing these 3 stages is going to massively help you to achieve that. Now, just something to bear in mind. Not only am I going to give you the 3 stages, but in stage number 1 and stage number 2, I'm going to share with you 5 classic mistakes that I know for sure that you will be either making or have made. So I'm not just going to give you the 3 areas. I'm going to give you 10 big mistakes that you need to avoid. And throughout this episode, I'm going to be giving you other podcast episodes that tie into what I'm going to share with you now. So at the end of this episode, to get a deeper context to each one of these strategies, you can go and listen to some of my other podcasts that will go into more detail and give you the knowledge that you need. So grab your notepads, grab your pens, grab your tablets, and let's get stuck in. I want to start this chapter off by asking you to cast your mind back to the point where you decided that you were going to set up your own business. And for different people, this will mean different things, because there's a reason why you set up your business in the first place. For me, going back to 1994, the reason why I wanted to set up my own business really came down to 3 different things. 1, I just couldn't stand it any longer being employed and working for the guy that I'd worked for years. Because back in 80s, when I were an apprentice, we got bullied, we got treated poorly, I got punched, I got kicked, I got abused, because that was just the day-to-day life of an apprentice back then. You couldn't get away with that in today's day and age. You'd be undrawn and quartered. But back then, you were bullied, and I just couldn't cope with it any longer. So number 1, I needed to get the hell out of employment. Number 2 is I always had this burning desire to work for myself. I'd always had this entrepreneurial spirit, albeit back then, I weren't particularly intelligent. I left school with little to no qualifications, suffer highly from dyslexia, which I was diagnosed as of 11-year-old, and all this lot going off. So I weren't the sharpest tool in the box, if you know what I mean. But I had this burning desire to succeed and become better and reach my full potential. So the second thing is exactly that. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to push myself, and I wanted to prove to myself that although I was told I'd never become anything and I were a thick kid at school and all this lot, I wanted to prove to myself that that wasn't the case, and that I actually had more in the tank than most people would give me credit for. And the third reason, in all honesty, was I wanted to earn more money. At that point in my life, I was 23-year-old, and I was married with 2 young kids and a mortgage round my neck at 23-year-old. So I needed to earn more money. And what I used to do back then is I used to look at other people that I knew who were self-employed. They got their own van, they got their own tools, they were doing their own work, they got their own sort of like freedom and choice of what they did. And that really appealed to me. And I used to look up to other people that I knew and thought, do you know what? I want to be like them. I mean, come on, how hard can this running a business malarkey be? Can't be that difficult. I've got the tools, I've got the knowledge on my trade. All I need to do is get some work in and get paid. And if I do that, then I'm going to earn more money. And plus, I'll be my own boss, so I can have as much time off as I want. I can go on holiday whenever I want. I can have days off whenever I want. I can go to my kids' sports days whenever I want. I can take them to school whenever I want. This is what I thought running a business were all around. I thought that going self-employed would give me time and financial freedom. What I didn't realise is that I had to learn a whole host new of skills to achieve that. And not just being good at your job and grafting every hour God sends, that's not going to get me to where I want to be, albeit then I didn't realise that. I just thought running a business was easy. I'd seen my old boss doing it. I saw the money that he had, the car that he drove, the house that he lived in, and I thought, hang on a minute, I'm making him all the money here. You know, we got 10 members of staff at that point. We're all making him the money. Surely I can do that. Surely running a business is easy. Surely running a business, I'd be able to earn more money and have loads of time on my hands. You see, that's how naive I were back then. That's what I thought running a business was all about. Now, I don't know why you set up your own business. Maybe it were for the same reasons as I've just shared. Maybe you got laid off and made redundant or whatever, and you were forced into it. But either way, at some point, we have that idea that, do you know what? Let's set up our own business. Let's find a name. Let's find a logo. Let's get out there and tell the world that we've set up a business because we're going to become multimillionaires and we're going to have all this time on our hands. Now, if you've set up your business recently, I don't know, maybe within the last year, you're going to be in the mind frame and the mindset as I was all them years ago. In the fact that you think that running a business is going to be easy. But if you've been in business for some years, I don't know, maybe 5 years, maybe a decade plus, I'm guessing that you're going to be doing what I'm doing now, and that's sniggering at myself thinking, how naive was I back then to think that running a business were easy? Because we're not all millionaires. We've not all got all this time on our hands. In fact, for the vast majority of people running their own trades or construction business, all you've done is create yourself the world's toughest job. Because usually, you're going to work more hours than everybody else that you know. You've got more commitments. You've got more challenges. You've got more cash flow problems. You've got problems with your team. You're working till stupid o'clock at night doing all your paperwork and your invoicing. You have to work Saturdays or maybe Sundays and give up that quality family time that you should be spending with your family. And then all of a sudden, you realise, hang on a minute, running a business is hard work. Running a business is actually the toughest job in the world. I mean, for some of you, you'd be better off financially and time-wise just packing your business in and going and subcontracting for somebody else and getting a good day rate or a weekly wage, getting your holidays paid for, getting your sick pay paid for, getting a pension paid for, and working 40 hours a week. But for whatever reason, we continue to slog ourselves to death, sweating blood and tears in this business, in this baby that we've conceived and we're growing. And it's like, why? Because you're no better off now than you were years ago. Nothing's changing, nothing's moving, nothing's shifting, nothing's growing. You're just on this hamster wheel doing the same thing day in, day out, but the rewards aren't getting bigger. And then our business starts to control our time. Our business starts to control our money and our finances. And when the business starts to control you, then you end up becoming what I call that ultimate busy fool. But all this lot can be avoided by understanding these 3 stages and the 10 mistakes that I'm going to share with you now. So, stage 1 of 3 I want you to write down survival stage. Survival stage. And this is exactly like I've just been sharing with you right now, right? And this is where every single one of us starts, in the fact that in survival mode, this is taking you back to the point where you've just set up a business. Now, again, I don't know whether you've just set up a business recently or you've been established for years. But either way, hear me out in survival mode. Because this is what starts to happen when you first set up a business. The goal and the purpose when you're in stage 1 survival is literally to do just that. And all you're bothered and concerned about when you first set up your business is make sure that you've got enough work coming in that you can keep busy. And that the work that's coming in is making you enough money to at least either equal the wage that you were on working for somebody else or slightly better it. You see, your goal is to make sure that you can survive, that you can bring enough work in, pay your suppliers, pay maybe a VAT, put a bit of money to side for your tax, bring enough money into the home or household to be able to pay your mortgage, pay your rent, feed and clothe your kids and your family. All you need to do in them early months or early years of growing a business is survive. And although it's daunting when you first set up your business, you know, it's the fear of the unknown, isn't it? It's the fear of where the next job or the work's going to come from. The fear of actually, is this ever going to work? Can I make a go of this business? But behind it all, you're motivated. Behind it all, you've got drive, you've got passion, you've got motivation, you've got commitment to make sure that this new baby, this business that you've just set up and you've conceived, you're going to nurture it, you're going to grow it, and eventually you're going to get to where you want to be. So in survival mode, that's all we need to do. And survival mode, for me, should last no more than 6 months. But I know for sure that there'll be people out there that have been in survival mode for 2 or 3 years and they're still struggling to pay the rent, put food on the table, clothe the kids, set up a nest egg and start a savings pot because they're living literally hand to mouth, week to week, month to month. It's either feast or famine and they can't seem to get out of this survival stage. No matter what they try, no matter what they do, no matter what content they create or networking events they go to or people or doors of opportunity that seem to want to open. It doesn't matter what you do, you just can't get out of survival stage. And I remember being in survival stage, waking up thinking, have I got enough work on this week? You're checking your phone constantly. By the way, back in 1994, we didn't have mobile phones. We didn't have social media. Websites had only just come on scene. You've got it easy in today and age. But you're constantly checking your phone to see if you've got any inquiries or leads coming in. You're saying yes to almost every job to fill your diary, to keep you busy. You're chasing the work. You're grafting like mad because right now, all it's about is not building a business. It's just about surviving. Now, the position that I'm now in 32 years later, I look back at me in that survival stage and I look back at the thousands of tradesmen and women that I've coached and they make 5 classic mistakes in survival stage that keep them stuck there. And I want to share what these 5 mistakes are because if you're making these in survival stage, something needs to change. So mistake number 1 in survival stage is saying yes to everything. One of the biggest mistakes I see at this stage is constantly saying yes to almost every job. And I get it, you need the money. But then what happens is you start taking on the wrong customers. You start taking on the wrong jobs, the wrong type of work, cheap jobs, nightmare clients, where you shouldn't have even been doing that job or working from it in the first place. And if anything, It's had a negative effect on you because now you might have spent a day, a week, a month working on that job. You've had nothing but grief. And you look at the end of the job and you think, well, hang on a minute. I've barely broke even here. I've hardly made any money. I've scraped a good wage together at best. Mistake number 2 is underpricing, selling yourself short. A massive mistake because you're scared of losing the job. You want to fill your diary. You want to be busy. I get that. So what do? You look and price a job. You probably don't know how to price a job correctly anyway. And I'm going to come on to some podcasts that allow you to learn how to do this. But you're probably not pricing the jobs correctly in the first place. You're probably looking at the price and thinking, well, actually, I've not got a great deal of work on, so let me lower the price. And now you're starting to buy work in. So now you're trading your time for money. And now you're busy, you're really busy, you've got the work coming in, but you're broke. You're not making any money. You've created a business that can't actually support you and your family. Mistake number 3 is you have no structure. You have no systems, you have no procedures, you have no processes, you have no SOPs. Everything on how your business runs is inside your head. Leads are coming in randomly from different places and you've got no systems or processes picking that lead up, vetting that lead and turning them into a paid customer. Your quotes are all done differently. Your quotes look different, your pricing different, you're giving different people different information. There is no consistency to anything. And listen carefully. If you tolerate this in stage number 1, right, it becomes the norm in stage number 2. And we cannot go into stage number 2 with no structure, no systems, no processes, no SOPs, with you constantly running your business when it's inside your head. What we've got to do is we've got to get all the running of your business out of your head and put into software like ServiceMate or Leadzilla that's going to help you systemize and automate the entire running of your business. Mistake number 4. You have no brand. You don't understand that there are 3 brands that you must build. Number 1 is your company brand. And what I mean by your company brand is I'm talking about the name of your business. I'm talking about the strapline. I'm talking about the logos. I'm talking about the fonts. I'm talking about the colours. And no doubt what you might have done is you might have called your business after your name or your initials or the name of the road that your first child were born on or whatever ego you want to put into it. And you've done it on the cheap on a shoestring budget. And you've used AI or Fiverr.com to come up with a logo. And if you're a plumbing and heating engineer, you'll have a flame in your logo. Or if you're a roofer or a building contractor, you've probably got a roof or a house in your logo. Come on. You're just blending in. You've got no branding. The brand looks cheap. The brand looks nasty. So who are you going to attract to your business? Exactly those type of customers. Brand number 2 is your personal brand. In the fact that you're not everywhere. You're not everywhere with this brilliant uniform on with the perfect logo on your social media, on your website, on your landing pages. You're not shooting videos to build know, like and trust. There's no personal branding out there. And the third one is your brand identity on how you pull these 2 brands together. How are you more authoritative than somebody else? How much more credibility? How much more trust? How much more reliability have you got? How many more video testimonials have you got? How many more 5-star reviews have you got more than your competitor down the road? You've got no branding. And mistake number 5, you've got no lead generation system. And this is a big one. And this is what, if you think about it, you could be the best plumber, joiner, electrician, roofer, plasterer, tiler on the planet. You could have all the best tools. But if you're not generating an avalanche of pre-vetted leads coming into your business, you haven't got a business, end of. And the big problem here is that you're chasing work instead of building a system that brings quality leads in. You're relying too much on word of mouth marketing or Facebook posts or a bit of hit and hope. You're keeping your fingers crossed that at the end of every week you've got enough work in for the following week. And then panic starts to set in when you don't have enough work, and then prices start to drop, and then you're into that cycle of feast or famine. It's brutal. What you need to do is you need to build what we call an attract strategy. In other words, what content do we need to create, and who is our target market that we need to put that content in front of? And if we can identify who our target market really is, the customers that have got some money, the customers that don't mind paying a little bit extra for quality work and service, and we're creating content and putting that out there that's punching that target market on end at nose, wanting to work with you, then all you're going to ever do is end up with feast or famine. We need to put a system in place that's going to generate profitable leads on tap every single day. So if you feel as though you're in this survival mode, and I'm not just talking about businesses that have only been set up 3 or 4 months, I know tradesmen and women that have been set up 2 or 3 years, but they're still stuck in this survival mode where every week, every month, it's just tough. And they're just surviving. So if that's you, you need to take these 5 mistakes that we see all the time, and you need to work on rectifying these mistakes. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you some other podcast episodes. I'm going to give you the podcast number, and then any of these 5 mistakes, you can jump into another episode that will go into these in more detail. So write these episode numbers down. If you're struggling with mistake number 1, which is saying yes to everything and just taking any type of work on, I want you to go and check out episode number 32. And episode 32 is, I want you to start to niche down on the type of services that you're offering. Because when we can niche down on offering 1 or 2 different products or services, we're going to make, 1, the marketing becomes easier because you're not marketing everything, you're only marketing a couple of things. 2, we can then start to systemize the business better because we're only systemizing for a couple of products and services. And 3, you'll make more profit. By niching down into specific products and services, I guarantee you'll make more money. If you're struggling with mistake number 2, which is underpricing jobs, I want you to go and check out episode number 63, because in episode 63, I teach you how to calculate your hourly rate correctly and how to price jobs the right way. If you're struggling with mistake number 3, which is having no structure in your business, literally your business is inside your head and you've got no systems, I want you to go and check out episode number 64. And this is where I interview Jamie Curtin, the founder of a business called Flow State, who helped set up ServiceMate, which is a job management software that will allow you to systemize your business so the software runs your business for you and it's not all inside your head. If mistake number 4, not having the right branding, is an issue, then I want you to go and check out episode number 20, because I teach you how to build the 3 business brands that's going to help you generate more leads. That's episode 20. And if mistake number 5, you haven't got a lead generation system in your business and you're relying on things like word of mouth and Facebook posts, go and check out episode number 98. Because in episode 98, I give you the top 20 different ways to market your business to generate leads to come in. Not 10, not 15, 20 proven ways that will help you generate more leads. Now, if you can survive the survival stage, which in all honesty, most people don't, because a lot of new businesses, they set up thinking it's going to be easy like I thought, And at some point within this survival stage, they just get fed up. They get fed up of putting the hours in. They get fed up of having bad customers. They get fed up of not making the money. They get fed up of the stress that it brings them, feast and famine and living hand to mouth. And at some point, they will either consider chucking towel in, or they will chuck the towel in and then they'll just go back to either subcontracting to someone else or go back into employment. Now, if that's you and you're thinking of doing that, then what I would say is hang fire, because in all of these episodes that I share with you inside these podcasts, the one thing I share is never quit, because there's so much knowledge that we share in these episodes that you can get yourself out of survival stage. It's not going to be a 5-minute job. You're not going to do it overnight, but it can be done, because I've done it and I've coached 30,000 tradesmen and women to get through it. But if we can push through it, you move into what people then think is success, which is stage number 2. But in actual fact, this is the most dangerous stage, stage 2, that you're about to enter. And if you don't get this right, then everything will come crumbling down around you. Stage number 2. Avoid this stage at all costs, because this is absolutely a killer. Stage 2 is what I call the busy fool stage. Write it down. The busy fool stage. Now, something starts to happen as you're coming out of survival stage. And what starts to happen is your reputation starts to grow, right? And along with that reputation starting to grow, and maybe more reviews coming in, and maybe you've now got a website and work's starting to come in, you're now busy. Your diary's starting to get full. The phone is starting to ring. Email enquiries are coming in. You've got work booked in for weeks or months ahead, and you think, finally, I've cracked it. I've actually got my business, I'm growing it. We've got all this work coming in. You know, I'm stacked out with work. So what do? You make the next classic mistake. I've got too much work coming in for me. So if I take somebody else on, that means I've got 2 people working in the business, even if that's just an apprentice. And that means I'm growing, because I've got work and I've got staff. And now I've got staff. Guess what's going to happen? I'm going to start to make more money. But in actual fact, here's what really happens. More jobs means more stress. More jobs means that you've got to be spending more time in the business. Why? Because you've now got twice as many leads coming in to deal with, twice as many jobs to go and survey, twice as many jobs to price, twice as many quotes to get out, twice as many invoices to send, twice as many materials to order, twice as much labour to organise. So your working hours without the systems in place is going to go through the roof. Yes, your turnover's going to go up, but 9 times out of 10, your profit's going to go down, because of all the increased overheads that you've not factored and put into your consideration in your cash flow. More people means more problems. And before you know it, you've become what I then call the ultimate busy fool. You see, you think the busier you get and the more staff you have working for you, the more profit and more time you're going to have back. That's not how it works. If you start to scale your business and take more staff on because the lead generation's working, but you don't understand the foundations of how to grow and scale a business, all that's going to happen is you're going to become a busy fool, and you're going to get to the end of that financial year and you'll sit down with your accountant, and your accountant's going to say, oh, let's have a look at last year's accounts. Oh, good news. Your turnover has gone up by X amount of hundreds and hundreds of thousands. But unfortunately, your gross and your net profit margins and percentages have actually come down. So you've done more work, You've employed more staff. You've done more jobs. You've turned over more, but your profits haven't gone up with it because you don't know how to scale a business. And now you've become trapped on an hamster wheel, stuck in busy fool stage. And this is where I ended up for 12 long, hard years. Every day grinding it out. Every day stuck on the hamster wheel. Every New Year's Eve I got to, I used to make a New Year's resolution and say, next year's got to be the year. It's got to be the year where the big job lands, where I find the right staff, where my profits go up. But it was never going to happen because my approach to growing the business wasn't going to change. I was just doing the same thing over and over again for 12 years and getting the same flipping results. And out of all these 3 stages that I'm walking you through now, the vast majority of trades business owners will end up stuck in stage 2. And here's the sad thing. Most people then, when they're stuck in stage 2, will resort themselves to the fact that, well, actually, running your own business is tough. Running your own business, you are going to have cash flow problems. You are going to make on some jobs and lose on others. Running your own business, you are going to end up dealing with time-wasting customers. Running your own business, that you are going to have to take on jobs that you shouldn't take on to keep your staff busy. Running your own business does mean that you've got to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You have got to stay up till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night doing your paperwork. You have got to put the odd Saturday shift in to catch up on what's been a challenging week. No, that's not how running a business is. That's how you are conditioning yourself to run your business because you don't know any other way of doing it. You've just conditioned yourself, and the sad reality is, and I do think this is sad, that I'm 55-year-old now, right? So if I was still on the tools now, there are people at my age still on the tools and still running a business, but doing it the busy full way. And I'm like, hang on a minute. You're spending all these decades supposedly reaching your full potential, supposedly making a better quality of life for you and your family, i.e. earning more money, i.e. having the time back to spend and doing what you love doing. But in actual fact, stuck in stage 2 for the last however many decades or years is giving you the opposite. It's a complete and utter opposite. But we end up conditioning ourselves and brainwashing ourselves that this is what we've got to do in stage 2, because running a business is hard. Yeah, it's hard when you're a busy fool and you've not learnt the skills of how to build, grow and scale a real business. And that's where I was stuck for 12 years thinking that was the norm. It weren't until 19 years ago that I thought, hang on a minute, this can't be right. I'd be better off working for someone else. I need help. And I brought a business coach into my construction business 19 years ago. And now, you know, as you all know, you know where I am now. I built, grew, sold my business. I've got 4 other businesses now. I've won Yorkshire's Businessman of the Year. I'm on Fixed Radio as their business and marketing coach. I've stood on over 550 stages. I've coached over 30,000 trades business owners to do the same. But how I've got that success is by stopping being a busy fool. So these are the 5 biggest mistakes that I see when you're stuck in that busy fool period, that busy fool stage. And if you don't get top side of these in that busy fool stage, I guarantee that no matter how much time, effort, blood, sweat, tears, passion, dedication and commitment you put into your business, in 5 years' time, you will still be that ultimate busy fool. So mistake number 1 is you do not understand the numbers in your business, because if you did, you won't be trading your time for money. You won't have cash flow problems. You become a cash-rich company, which is all what my companies are. They're all cash-rich. They all make profit. But to get to that point, I need to understand what the numbers are. So, understanding things such as how to price your jobs by understanding what is your hourly rate, because it's not what you think it is. What is your hourly rate? How do you price a job correctly? How do you work out what markup or margin or profit to add onto a job? How to get your payment stages and your payment terms in favour of you and not your customers or clients. In fact, you've got more money coming in off the job than you're actually paying out, so you're never going to put yourself in a vulnerable position should a job ever go belly up. You don't understand how overheads can cripple your profits. So as you're scaling your business, your overheads are increasing with it. And if we don't understand the numbers, you could be making more profit, but the actual increased overheads in your business is just eating away at that profit. So therefore, you're not making any more profit because you don't understand your overhead contribution. And once we get to grips with how do you price a job, are we looking at the profit and loss on a job at the end of every job or at the end of every week or month? Are we sitting down and analysing these figures? Do we understand what our gross profit is as a figure and a percentage? Do we understand what our net profit figure after tax is? Do we understand what our balance sheet looks like? Do we understand all of our taxes? Do we understand that we should be having things like pensions to offset tax so we can save £60,000 a year and bring us corporation tax down by offsetting it into a pension? Are we stopping overpaying on taxes by having a brilliant accountant? Are we splitting our money up into 4 separate bank accounts, a current account, a savings account, a VAT account, a tax account? Are we putting us money into these different pots? Probably not. So how the hell can you build, grow and scale a business that's got a positive cash flow if you don't understand the numbers in business? I just don't get it. Well, I do get it because I was one of these people for 12 years, just winging it and hoping and praying that at the end of every week, at the end of every month, I got enough money left in bank to pay me suppliers, pay me labour, pay me tax, and I'd not. I was using my overdraft facility by dipping into my VAT money and using my VAT money as an overdraft. I was paying my subbies more than I was paying myself. All these are telltale signs that you haven't got a grip of your numbers. Mistake number 2, bad hiring. You're hiring and bringing in the wrong people into your business. You're doing what I was doing when I was in that busy full stage. I've got all this work coming in. I'm over capacity and now I need more joiners. So what am I doing? Does anybody know any joiners? Oh yeah, my mate's just been laid off. He's been on a Saturday. He'll do. Tell him to go to this job on Monday. Tell him to WhatsApp me, text me. This is how much I'm paying. Tell him to go and meet so-and-so on this job. He'll do. And all I'm doing is I'm taking the wrong people on at the wrong times, not even knowing if I were making profit or not. Why? Because I were over capacity. I couldn't say no. I took so much work on. But here's me thinking the more work I take on, the more profit I'm going to make and I'm growing my business. And it's not. So now I'm employing the wrong people. And these people that I'm now employing, instead of saving me time and making me money, they're now costing me time and losing me money. Every day they're on the phone. I've got a problem. What do I do here? It's like, what do you mean, what do I do here? Well, what do I say to customer? Or what do you want me to go back and do? And it's like, you're a grown-ass adult. Can't you make these decisions yourself? Why are you ringing and badgering me all the time to make decisions? Or have you ever had that one where somebody, one of your staff, subbies, whatever, rings you and they've run out of materials on job, but they wait until they've run out before they ring you, but you're busy doing a million other things. So they ring me and they go, oh, Craig, this roof that I'm on, we've almost finished it. Oh, great, well done, lads. Yeah, but we've run out of 6x2. What do you mean you've run out of 6x2? Well, we've run out of timber. We've got no timber left. Well, when did you know you were going to run out of timber? Yesterday. Well, why didn't you either contact me yesterday or order the material yourself and get it delivered? Well, it's like, come on. It's like pulling teeth, babysitting grown-ass adults. So now all of a sudden, the more people you take on, the more problems you're going to get. The more of your time they are going to want to sap. The more customers they are going to upset. The more firefighting you're going to have to do, the more mistakes you're going to have to rectify. And it just becomes relentless. Why? Because you don't know the 7-step structure to employing the right person. We're not just going to take anybody on. There's a certain 7-step structure that I coach and I teach that teaches you how to identify the right time to take someone on, how much to pay that person. When do we take them on and how do we pay them? How do we write the job advert and not just one of these posts on Facebook? We are hiring. Nobody cares that you're hiring. How do we find the right person? When we found the right person, how can we take them through a 2-step interview process to make sure that they are the right person? How are we going to onboard them and train them and teach them about our values, standards, morals and beliefs? How are we going to share the vision and the mission and the culture with this new member of staff? How do we integrate them into our existing team? How do we establish the rules of the game? How do we establish the 4 foundations to building a team? If you don't know any of this, then you're going to end up taking on the wrong people. It's bad hiring. And when you do that, the person that you're bringing in, who's supposed to be making you more money and saving you time, ends up costing you money and costing you time. So now you're scaling your business with all the aggravation of paying someone to create your problems. That has to stop. Mistake number 3. You're still on the tools. Listen, you're going to really struggle to grow and scale a business and get it to the levels and the profit margins and the time freedom that you want and crave if you're still going to be on the tools. And I get it. I totally understand it for the people that say, yeah, but Craig, I enjoy being on tools. I hate it being in office. I hate doing the paperwork. That's not my skill set. Where I'm good at making money is being on the tools. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in an admin person who's going to help run the admin side, keeping me on the tools and doing the job that I love. No. You are going to struggle to grow your business if you are still on the tools. You have got to get off the tools. If you're in busy full stage, there's only one way you're going to get out of that, and that is by getting your time back to focus on these strategies that I'm sharing with you, not only on this episode, but on the previous 107 coaching sessions. You need time to learn the knowledge and implement that knowledge into your business. And when you do that, and only when you do that, will things start to change. And then you've got people that are in limbo, because you're at that point where you understand that to scale your business, you've got to come off the tools. And you might be a day, maybe 2 days a week off the tools, but then you're still on the tools for another 3 days, either making your money up or just making sure that the people on the jobs and the customers are well looked after. Listen, you've got to get off the tools, because you'll never grow. But how and when is the right time to come off the tools? Because there's no magic formula. It's not like you have to hit X amount of employees before you come off the tools, or hit the X amount of turnover before you come off the tools, or hit the amount of leads coming in to come off the tools. But we can't just randomly take ourselves off the tools if we've got no processes in place. But at the same time, we know that we've got to get off the tools. So how do we do that? What's the process of getting off the tools? Well, a very simple one is this. Why don't you start saying, right, 1 day a week, I'm going to work on the business. And it could be a Friday. So from this point on, every Friday, I am off the tools. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the business, and I'm going to do that for a month. And then as the things that you're working on the business starts to work, the following month, you could say, right, I'm now going to take 2 days a week off the tools, and I'm going to work 2 days in the office, 2 days working on business. Now you're doubling up on your time. And what you could do is over a period of maybe 5 or 6 months, you could make yourself redundant off the tools by gradually taking yourself off. But when you take yourself off the tools, you've got to make sure that the team can run the jobs for you. You shouldn't be babysitting grown adults, should you? You don't need to be on every job. You don't need to deal with every customer. You don't need to organise that communication. You don't need to order every material that you need and sort out every piece of labour. If you've got a team that are switched on, that have got some kind of common sense, we can teach them on how to do that, getting you off the tools, but at the same time, making more money. Are you with me? Mistake number 4 is having no systems and no automation in place. We've already touched on this in survival stage where your business is inside your head. But you can't scale a business if you're relying on you manually remembering to do absolutely everything in your business. And you can't scale it even if you've got an admin person who's brought in to do all the admin. If they're not working to any systems or any processes, or you've got no software that's set up correctly, and you've got no SOPs, standard operation procedures, whether that's an instruction, written down instruction with screenshots on how to raise an invoice in Xero, or a video tutorial showing them how to do the wages every week, if you've got no systems and no processes and no automations in place, you cannot scale because you've only got 168 hours in a week. And if you're trying to scale the business in busy full stage without the systems, it's relying on you too much, which means it's going to take more of your time. But you haven't got more time because you're already working 60, 70 hours a week, and therefore you're going to run out of your 168 hours. So what we've got to do is we've got to bring systems, usually in the form of software, into your business that'll allow you to do literally everything. Everything from a lead coming in to the lead being vetted, to booking the customer onto a home or site survey. All the automations behind the scenes get triggered, confirming that appointment with videos inside them emails and text of you thanking them for that survey and explaining what's going to happen on it. All the way through to pricing a job, putting your proposal together, sending the proposal off, organising your labour, organising your materials, communicating with you and your team and your customer throughout the job, all the way through to right at the very end with your referral strategy kicking in, your 5-star review system kicking in, and even getting a video testimonial off the customer at the end of the job. All that lot, that customer journey needs to be systemized and automated. And when we build that system, the business is no longer reliant on your time because the system is running the business, and the people that you employ with the right skill set at the right time then run the systems. And all of a sudden, you start to take a step back away from the day-to-day running of your business because the systems are coping with everything, and the team that you've brought in now are running the systems. Are you with me? So we've got to make sure that we've systemised and automated our business using Leadzilla or ServiceMate or an equivalent. We've got to do that to get you out of the business. And mistake number 5, and the single most important entire part of this episode, the number 1 key to all your success, write this down, is mindset and personal development. Problem number 5 is your mindset and your personal development. Now, with the utmost respect to you, and I mean this with respect, the biggest problem, the biggest challenge, the biggest obstacle, the biggest hurdle that you've got in your business right now, whether you are in survival stage or busy full stage, the problem is not your cash flow. The problem is not the lack of leads. The problem is not your team. The problem is not your systems. The problem is not the business. The problem is you. And I mean that with respect. You see, the business is never the problem. The problem is always the mindset of the business owner. How can it be that there are other businesses within a 10 square mile radius of where you're listening to this episode right now that do exactly the same trade as you, that have got a growing business and doing it correctly and not having all these challenges and these mistakes that I'm sharing with you right now? And it's not like we said, it's lucky, or they've had an opportunity that you've got, or they're cleverer than you, or whatever. It's got nothing to do with that. It's to do with the mindset of the business owner. And what we've got to do, and what I had to do 19 years ago, is I had to accept, which were a bitter pill to swallow, given the fact that I'm a proud man, and I didn't want to accept that I'd made mistakes. The first thing we've got to do is accept that we have made mistakes, and these mistakes have come back to bite us in the backside. And the only way we're going to change the business and get it out of where it's at currently, in this example, stage 2, busy full, is by changing our approach to how we're running as business. And holding our hands up saying, do you know what? We have made mistakes. I'll take it on the chin. But what do I need to do, Craig? Now I've accepted it, to put this right. And that is going to take a massive shift in your personal development and your mindset. Because if you remember what I've already shared, I'd conditioned myself and programmed myself through my mindset that being a busy fool was just the way in which a business ran, and I had to accept that. But that's because I'd run the business with a closed mindset. I'd never run the business with a growth mindset. But for me to be able to grow my business, the first thing that needed to grow was me. Because I couldn't take my business to the levels I wanted to take it to with the knowledge and the motivation and the actions that I'd been currently taking. Those actions had taken me so far, but they were never going to get me to where I want to be. So the biggest mistake I see and I mean this, 99.9999% of business owners, it's not the business, it's them. So what we've got to do is we've got to start submerging ourselves into personal development. And what I mean by personal development is changing your daily habits on how you're approaching your business and how you're approaching your life. And I'm not here to say that what you're doing is wrong. What I'm here to say is it's got you to where you are now, but it's never going to get you to where you want to be, which is outside of busy full stage 2. To do that, we've got to have a shifting mindset and we've got to develop as self. So to do that, developing daily habits, such as you're going to need a new morning routine, because I'm still gobsmacked at the amount of business owners that hitting snooze button in the morning. I mean, come on. What are you hitting your snooze button on your business in your life for? You're not even motivated to get your lazy backsides out of bed, some of you, and go and get stuck in. So you need a new morning routine. My morning routine is I am up at 4:15 every single morning. I work on my gratitude. I work on my mindset. I do affirmations. I do meditation. I spend an hour in gym. I'm listening to motivational, educational content. I step back in my house at 6:45 in the morning. Game on. Bring it. I'm developing myself where some people are still hitting snooze button at 6:45 in the morning. Get out my way, because I'm just going to steamroll straight past you. Are you with me? So we've got to get ourselves motivated. We've got to get that hunger back. We've got to start investing time into you. Stop drinking alcohol. Stop knocking yourself out at night with 6 bottles of lager or a bottle of wine. I've stopped drinking alcohol. I've been alcohol-free for 3 and a bit years now. And I'm telling you now, everything has changed. Profits have changed. Life's changed. Health and well-being's changed. My diet's changed. My exercise regime's changed. I've got hobbies that I didn't have time for. I'm sure that when you started your business, you had hobbies. But what's happened to them hobbies? You don't get time for them anymore because you're a busy fool. Are you with me? So all this mindset and personal development that I absolute preach to everyone, I do it for a reason. Because you have always got to be ahead of your business. You've got to be in front of your business. In other words, fired up, pumped up, motivated, learning new knowledge, implementing new knowledge, getting results, growing your business. And what you need to be doing is you need to be pulling your business up to your speed. But sadly, for most business owners, that role is reversed. And their business is ahead of them. Their business is growing, but you're not. You're still stuck as that person, and that person now is stressed, burnt out, tired, lack of motivation, want to throw a towel in, customers moaning, team complaining, firefighting. You're dealing with all that rubbish all the time. So I get it. Your business does suck the life out of you, and you can fall out of love with your business. But if that's happening and your business is controlling your time and your business is controlling your finances and your business is controlling your relationships between you and your business, then your business is ahead of you. You can't grow your business if your business is dragging you behind it. You've got to be in front of the business, dragging the business behind you. So the business is not the problem. In almost every case of the 30,000 people that I have coached and trained, almost every single one of them, the problem's been the mindset and the personal development, in the fact that the business owner has never dedicated any time into developing and growing themselves before they attempt to grow the business. Now, I'm going to share with you another 5 episodes, one for each of these mistakes that you might be making in busy full stage. So the first one, mistake number 1, was not understanding the numbers in your business. So what I want you to do, I want you to go and check out episode number 18. Number 18. And this is the 15 cash flow disasters to avoid to stop losing money in your business. That's episode 18. Mistake number 2 is bad hiring, employing the wrong members of staff. So if that's you, I want you to go and check out episode number 75, because in 75, I teach you the 7-step hiring method that every trades business owner needs to implement before they've employed or hired the first person. That's episode 75. Mistake number 3 was you're still on the tools and you need to get off the tools as quick as you can. So I want you to listen to episode number 52, because in 52 I teach you how to get off the tools by implementing 7 crucial steps or areas into your business that will allow you to get off the tools. Mistake number 4 is having no systems or automation inside your business. So go and check out episode number 72, because in 72 I teach you how to systemize and automate and delegate the running of your entire business to win your time back. And mistake number 5, personal development and mindset, I want you to check out 2 episodes for this one. The first one is episode 9, which is how to develop a positive, bulletproof growth mindset to achieve success and growth in your business and your life. followed by episode number 10, how to create a powerful morning and evening routine that will just change the game for you. Stage number 3 and the holy grail of what we're all deep down wanting to work towards, write this down. It's called time and financial freedom. Write it down. Time and financial freedom. Now, whilst I appreciate that everybody's purpose in life and in business and everybody's why do you do what you do and what the purpose is, I understand that not everyone is driven by, let's say, money. Money's not the main driver for everyone. For some people it is. They want to show off. They want to become materialistic, the ego, the big I am. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's you and that's what you want, then that's fine. But I also understand that money's not the be-all and end-all to everybody, right? And that money's not the main driver. But there's no getting away from the fact that the reason why you're in business is to provide you and your family with a better financial reward than you are doing working for someone else. I mean, come on. Why would anybody want to go into business to make less money, which actually some people are because they're stuck in stage 1 and 2, or just break even? And I keep going back to this sad reality that the vast majority of small to medium-sized business owners, despite what BS you see on Facebook and how amazing everybody's life is and how amazing the businesses are, the vast majority, trust me, of small to medium-sized business owners are nowhere near time and financial freedom. So when I'm saying time and financial freedom, I know that everybody's going to have a different take on what that is in terms of money and how much money it's going to take for them to be financially free. For some people, it might be 10 million. For other people, 500 grand might make them financially free. Are you with me? The second thing is time. And I get that not everybody wants to be like me. It's all right for you, Craig. If you just want to work 2 or 3 days a week, then that's your choice. You can do that. You might say that'd drive me mad. I need to be working like 40, 50 hours. That's just me. I enjoy work and I want to spend time doing work. And if that's you, that's okay. I'm not telling you that you've got to work the least amount of hours as you want. What I am saying to you is, time and financial freedom give you this one word, and I want you to write this word down. Time and financial freedom give you choice. Write down the word choice. And where I'm at, and I've been there for a number of years now, but where I'm at now, I have a choice. And having a choice, for me, is freedom. Because I can choose on whether I want to go into work or not go into work. I can choose where I spend my time. I can choose what I want to do with my money because I've built a business that's put me into that position. Are you with me? And just having the choice of what I want to do with my time and my money, for me, that's just like groundbreaking. Because for all them decades I was in stage 1 and stage 2, and for all the pain and the blood and the sleepless nights and the tears I've had, and listen, I don't mind admitting it, I'm a grown man. And I won't want to admit it, but I'm going to be honest with you. The tears that I've had trying to grow this business, not just with a business that's trying to burn me out, but with relationship challenges and problems at home with my wife and my kids and not being around and the business controlling all that lot, to get rid of that and just have a choice of what I do. I don't want to be the richest man in the graveyard. I don't want to be the richest man in the world. But what I have got, I'm rich as in I've got time to do what I want and I've got the money to do what I want. There's not a day goes by where I don't have a choice. If I wanted to literally now not go into work tomorrow and book a 2-week holiday abroad somewhere, I've got the time and I've got the financial resources to do that. Now, that's not me giving it the big I am look at me, because I'm just Craig Wilkinson that's doing this for myself. But I've got the choice to do it, is what I'm saying. And that's the point that I believe that all business owners are working towards, having that choice. And it's got to that point in my life now where I feel as though I've got everything that I need in life. I'm happy. I'm more than content with what I've got. And I believe that as well as having choice, the word that we're all looking for, and I want you to really drill down on this word. The word that we are all looking to be, and I'm telling you now, most business owners aren't, is this one word, and that is happy. All we want to be is happy. We want to be happy. We want our family and our loved ones to be happy. We want our employees and subbies and customers to be happy. But unfortunately, the vast majority of business owners, you're not happy. I know you're not happy because I've worked with that many of you. You're not happy. And that's sad, don't you think, that you're putting yourself through all this to probably be in stage 2 and not happy? That's defeating the object, isn't it? All we want to be is happy. And what I'm suggesting to you is when we get to time freedom, whereby we have got the time to be able to do what we want to do when we want to do it, that's going to make us happy. When we've got the financial freedom, that's going to make us happy. And I'm not here to say that money is going to make you happy, because again, at the stage I'm at right now, I've got everything in my life. I'm happy. I'm content with what I've got. I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to be going out there and doing more than I need to. I've got enough time and enough money to be able to do what I want when I want. And that makes me happy. And that's it. That's all I want to be. And if I'm happy and my family's happy and you're happy and everybody's happy, that's the thing that we are craving. Now, one thing I want to share about this: time is more valuable than money. Time is the most valuable currency that every single one of us has on the planet. But too many people are sacrificing that time for money. You're trading your time for money. This is why some are in stage 2, like I used to, working till 10 o'clock at night almost every week. This is why some of you at a weekend can't have a weekend off. You can't switch off, never mind have a weekend off. Your mind's constantly going and you're not even present with your family, or you've got to put a Saturday shift in because you've got to catch up on a week that's not gone according to plan. Time is controlling you. But let me tell you this, at 55 years old, I so regret the amount of time that I have sunk into my businesses over years and the sacrifices that I've had to make to get to where I am now. And some people will think, yeah, but Craig, you've nailed it. You've got there. You know, you've got the time, you've got the money to do what you want. I get that. But if you were to turn around to me now and say, all them nights wasted where I weren't present with my family, all them weekends where I had to work, all them holidays that we booked that I didn't go on because I didn't leave my business for a week because of the state it had been when I came back, all that time that I've sacrificed in pursuit of growing this business to have got what I've got now, is it worth it, Craig? And I say, do you know what? No, it's not worth it, because our time is the most valuable currency that we've got. And at 55-year-old, I actually feel like I'm running out of time. I've got what I want, but for me now, I've got to make the most of the next 20 to 30 years that I've got left on this planet, because that's all I've got left. And I'm telling you, if you were to come to me maybe in 10 years' time and say to me, Craig, would you give everything up that you've got now to have another decade in your life I'd give everything up in that split second. And the reason why I'm sharing this is too many of us are sacrificing too much for very little reward. If the rewards are big, I get it. But for me, I sacrificed best part of 16, 17 years of my life to grow this business that I thought was going to give me time and financial freedom. But in actual fact, I've been stuck in stage 2 and I was stuck there for 12 years. The previous time I was stuck in stage 1. So the point I'm making here is this: money's not everything. Time is everything. And if you're chasing money constantly, you're going to struggle to become happy. What I would say is live in the moment, be happy and be grateful for what we've got now, because sometimes we can always focus on the things we haven't got rather than focusing on the things that we have got, which is our health, our well-being, our family, our friends, and just being present. That is the most important part, and that is what I've now got, and that is choice. Now, I want to leave you with another podcast episode, and I would love you, no matter what stage you feel you're at, I'd love you to do episode number 43, because in 43, I teach you how to build a business that funds your dream lifestyle, but without falling into debt or wasting your precious time that you've got on this planet. And if we can learn how to build the business and fund it the right way, without us having to work stupid hours, but gives us the time and financial freedom that we all deserve, then surely that's the episode that we need to start with. So that's episode number 43. Now, what I would love you to do is either come into our free Facebook group and community at the Trades Freedom Club, or if you're a member of our Growth Club, come into our Growth Club. I'd like you to tell me that you've listened to episode number 108. And then be honest. I've been honest on this episode. I've told you all the 3 stages I've been through and the sacrifices I've had to make. So I've been honest with you. So come into the group or into our Growth Club and tell us that you've listened to this episode, and be honest, what stage are you at? Because if you're in stage number 1 and we can all come together as a community to help you, not go from stage 1 to stage 3 and bypass stage 2, busy fool, then let's do it. But likewise, you might be, do you know what, Craig? Some of what you've said in this episode has really resonated with me. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm in stage 2 and I don't know how to get out of it. Well, that was me 19 years ago. And I raised my hand and I said, I need help. Somebody teach me and show me how I can get out of this stage and work towards that choice, that time and financial freedom stage. And I did that. And with a lot of hard work and a lot of graft, it's not a magic wand, it's not going to happen overnight, but with the right knowledge and the right support and the right motivation and changing my mindset allowed me to get there. If that's you and you're in stage 2, come and tell us that you're in stage 2 and let us help you. Let us rally round you. Let's give you some accountability and support to help you get to stage number 3. But you might be listening to this and saying, Craig, I'm in stage 3. I've done it. You know, and remember what I've said about stage 3. This is not about saying that you've got the most amount of money, because everybody's different. What I class as financially free, you might class as something different. So it's not about the money. It's about having the choice and being happy. And if you feel as though you're in stage 3 or you're very near to stage 3, come and tell us. Come and tell us, and then tell us what you've done to get to stage 3, because this might help other people as well. Now, the links to our Facebook group and to come and join our Growth Club are in the show notes and the description of this episode, that you can click and come over and share that information with us. And remember, I've also shared with you 11 other stellar top quality coaching and content throughout this episode for each one of those mistakes and how to achieve the financial freedom and the choice right at the very end, which is episode 43. So you've got that lot as homework to go and get stuck into and start making them positive changes in your business that'll have a knock-on effect into your life. And remember, the business is never the problem. The problem is always the mindset of the business owner. I'll catch up with you on next week's episode and I'll meet you at the top. Thank you.